Okay. Minecraft. No doubt, one of my favorite video games of all time. Even 10 years later, I still can't let go of this brilliant masterpiece of artwork. A significant contributor to the game's magic and longevity have always been the regular content updates. Even if they've lost their surprise luster, with all the YouTubers putting spoilers in their titles and thumbnails to selfishly deprive me of that first-time experience I so yearn to feel once again, they still serve to fill me with an unmatched excitement. I still appreciate every little new addition for all they have to offer, whether from a lore perspective, from an atmospheric perspective, from a gameplay perspective, or even often all of the above. There's not much that could ever match the magic of a new Minecraft update for me. Even with the supposed bad additions to the game, with phantoms being amongst the most commonly cited examples, I can see the value they have underneath their flaws. I can see what they add to the experience, and I can seldom go back to a Minecraft without them. Despite what others say, I don't feel that these bad features take away all that much. However, there is one update that remains an exception to this rule in my mind. One update where an addition truly, without a doubt, not just partially, but rather almost completely took away from something I now love. 1.9. This was, up until 1.19.1, and debatably still to this day, the most controversial update in the game's history. It has added so much, yet there's one feature that it has tainted. Ruined even. I didn't realize at the time, but as I've grown, my playstyle has evolved, I can now plainly see what we have lost. What I, and many others, have been blind to for all these years. The one feature that the 1.9 combat update indisputably took away from is the end dimension. Now, I want to make one thing clear before I discuss my reasoning for this. I understand that many people have a problem with 1.9's revamped combat system above all else. I understand the plight, I really do. However, that subject's been talked about to death anyway. Though I do patiently await a future where we'll find a happy middle ground, and I won't have to downgrade to an 8-year-old inferior instance of Minecraft just to play on the large portions of the servers in existence. A day where the poor 1.8 PvP players won't be deprived of all the good that the newer versions have given us just to enjoy their favorite part of the game. Another preface. Please understand my viewpoint on this. I believe I've made it clear so far that I'm not some nostalgia-blind beta adherent who thoughtlessly dismisses everything the modern game has to offer. No, my friend. Many of my favorite features of all time have actually appeared within the last couple of years. Honey blocks, scaffolding, viable axe combat, spyglasses, the interesting overworld hazards, all of the new building blocks, and even the Nether update, despite me having quite a large problem with that one as well. I do not hate the new Minecraft for being new, I embrace it for welcome change. It is with this point of view, which I share with you, that I hope you will understand. My criticism does not come from a place of mindless hate, it comes from a place of genuine belief that the old way could have been preserved more gracefully. With all that aside, however, the end. The end has always been a weird, barren place. The end dimension has always been a weird, barren place. It's supposed to be weird and barren. What could be more weird and barren than a single island surrounded by an endless expanse of nothing? We'll get back to that, but, for now, the End Islands. The End Islands have debatably taken away from that atmosphere. However, that isn't really my biggest problem with them. They still do a fantastic job maintaining that desolate wasteland that is the End. They were a perfect atmosphere and gameplay compromise to add a little more interest while still retaining just enough of that empty, repetitive, dead nature that the dimension is so loved for. No, that's not what the End Islands took away. It's not that atmospheric perspective, nor the aforementioned lore perspective. It is, in fact, the gameplay perspective. The End was once upon a time something entirely unique to the game, which now exists nowhere else. Apart from that central, very destructible island, it was just an empty expanse of absolute nothing. Not a block to break, not a mob to roam, not a particle to be emitted, just absolute nothing. Nothing being the absence of something. An absence within a game built for creativity is one to be filled. The Ender Void, more than a void, was a blank slate ready to be imprinted on. In fact, I'd even go as far as to say that calling it a void does not do justice to the majesty of this great artistic expanse. No, this functionally endless stretch of imagination waiting to be put into digital form is the Ender Canvas. Have you ever been a god? What is a universe? A practically infinite space of nothing, yet you have the power to populate it with something. Imagine a dimension completely and in totality your own, free from outside influence, all under your rule. The overworld, riddled with terrain, caves, life, day, night, water, you can mold it, but it will only ever be molding. No matter how much you try, there will remain area outside of your control. The Nether, a fiery, deadly hellscape that wishes you to be dead for merely existing. Even the fabled nether roof is subject to the bedrock below your feet, placed there not by your whim, and shackling you to merely half of the potential world height you could have. This near indestructible barrier makes the nether even less of a viable canvas than the overworld, if put into the hands of the most dedicated player. The end had nothing but a single portal in the middle. The rest could be destroyed in a couple of days at most. Even if left be, this one tiny blemish is nothing compared to the oppressive constriction of the other two dimensions. This dimension is completely yours. You can create whatever you want, only limited by the world height eclipsing that of the Nether's two halves. You can put whatever you want here. Nothing has to exist if you don't wish it to. Minecraft has a motto that has been embraced more so over the past few years than ever. No one can tell you what you can or cannot do. The Ender Canvas was the perfect embodiment of this notion, better than anything else the game could ask for. In a game where your goals are truly and only your own, there is no greater reward for defeating the final boss than to receive an entire world dictated only by you. This is the real reward for beating Minecraft that we took for granted all of these years. True, unburdened, creative freedom. It's clear, however, that most of the community does not seem to appreciate this now absent facet of our wonderful end dimension. No, not even the end islands are enough. More is wanted. Most cannot appreciate the stunning atmospheric simplicity that remains of this barren wasteland. They want its consummate modesty to be tarnished as happened with the Nether. And you know what? I'm mostly okay with that. As it stands, the end dimension in its current state is still a wonderful place that I dearly love, and I'm confident Mojang will maintain what's so special about it if and when the time to update it comes. I only mourn for that which we have lost with the combat update, that which I didn't appreciate until it was already several years too late. I suppose this is the part of the video where most YouTubers that have a problem with the game propose a solution. While I do have a few problems with my proposed solution, it would theoretically solve 3 problems at once. Removing the end islands is completely out of the question, of course. Even if it was aligned with Mojang's development ideals to remove features, it would be unfair to take away from all, myself included, who value their existence. I now bear an answer to my earlier question. What could be more weird, barren, and dare I say brilliant than a single island surrounded by an endless nothing? Well, consider this. Just that endless expanse, without the island. For a long time, there have been 2 things Mojang have struggled with in regards to what I might suggest. The first is to, perhaps, find a use for the dragon egg. The second, to add a next stage of progression from the end, an entirely new dimension that actually warrants existing. Yes, I dare to suggest that Minecraft's next dimension be nothing, an empty void. No blocks, no light, no, not even any Endermen. A boundless sea of vacancy. A new true space to do what you want. The ultimate reward for defeating the Ender Dragon. In many cultures, the egg holds a symbolic significance. To leave behind the old, to bring in the new. A spark of life to add into an unknown world. Some religious types even say that the universe itself was born from an egg, bringing us something into a previous nothing. The Minecraft player is all but a god. All in their reach is at their mercy. They ascend to invincible status throughout the game, all with one goal of defeating the dragon in mind. What does the Ender Dragon protect but a single egg? Is the Ender Dragon truly a cruel monarch of the end, enslaving its people? Or is it perhaps a guardian, protecting the most valuable prize of all, possibly from the clutches of the Endermen, or perhaps even with their assistance? Maybe its reasons are selfish, or maybe, yet again, it simply awaits one who's worthy of this ultimate reward. We know not its motive, but we fulfill our destiny. The Dragon Egg, with its secrets uncovered, an entire dimension is born from it. A dimension free for the player to do whatever they want in. A dimension ripe for influence, devoid of everything, save for, maybe, a single curious little dragon, wandering aimless amongst the unfathomable reach of new space. With the dimension of land and sea, and the dimension of caves beneath the flat expanse, and even the dimension of islands floating within nothing, all that remains to complete this set of dimensions is one of total zero. They say limitation breeds creativity. In all my several years of game development at this point, I've learned this to be true. It should absolutely not be discredited. It's also important to remember, however, that this does not mean that the absence of limitation cannot produce equally, if not more memorable results. Limitation is a wonderful tool, but the value of unlimited power should not go understated either. Or, they could be boring and add an Aether-esque Wonderland Sky dimension or something. Man, when I was a kid, I never would have thought I'd become so pretentious that I'd be claiming literal nothingness to be less boring than the whole extra swath of new features, but here I am. I want to know your feelings about all of this in the comments, whether that just be the Ender Canvas in general, or my suggestions to add something similar in its place. I understand that I'm taking kind of a radical viewpoint here, I'd say, so at the end of the day, think for yourself. Don't let me tell you how to feel. Don't let anyone else tell you how to feel. Come to your own conclusions about any and everything. Thanks for watching my little block game rant.